Welcome back to my studio. I am working on commission. I showed you earlier some of the sky and the mountains. Now I'm starting on these evergreen trees and the spring birch trees. First of all, I want to put my trunks in for the evergreens, and I just bracing my hand on my maul stick. I can do my, just kind of refer back to my sketch. First I want to put in my trunks. We're also going to have some trunks in there that are bare of leaves. And some of those pines, they get dead growth and all in the stands. I have a taller one here. I want it to break up over the top of the mountain because that helps give the impression of depth in the painting. When you have overlapping elements in your painting, that helps to give the feeling of depth. Let me do these on the other side. And I can always come back if I want to add any more, but this just kind of gets me started. Now these trees are down below the hill. These are closer, so these won't be as tall. I've got one here. By holding my brush back at the long end of it, it allows me, I can just, let me see if, make sure I'm in the front of the canvas. You can just rotate your hand like this, and it's easier to get a straight line. So this, and the lines aren't totally straight, and that's okay because a lot of times tree trunks are not just entirely straight either. I'm not going to worry about painting around the edge of the canvas at this point. I'll do that later. And so anyway, get those trunks in there. I think I'm going to take this one out over here because I want to have an, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, I do want one more. I want to have an odd number. Odd numbers in a composition are just, in a design, just are more pleasing. That's just a general rule. Sometimes I'm sure people don't exactly go by that, but I'm going to put this one over here. Put this back in. May get pretty well covered over, but there we go. Now, that's a mixture of my mud, which is 2 parts of ultramarine blue plus 1 part of alizarin crimson. And I mix a little bit of liquid into that to just make it flow easier. Now I'm using mixes of ultramarine blue plus a little bit of cadmium orange. Then I've got some phthalo blue plus cadmium orange and a little bit of cadmium yellow medium. And I just start making my foliage on these evergreen trees. I love these bright brushes. It's a square tipped brush. I can use the entire flat edge to make big strokes. I can use the corners to make smaller strokes. Now I'm going to make just a mixture of phthalo blue plus liquid. This will give me a cool dark within the shadows of these trees, just a little bit. In fact, I'm even going to make a mixture of the phthalo blue plus a little bit of white. This also gives me some coolness in the more shadowed part of the trees. It's not real apparent. I also have just a mixture of pure ultramarine blue plus white. This I want these trees to be fairly dark. That helps by bringing my darker elements forward in the foreground, that helps the lighter and cooler mountains go back. It also makes the sky glow. Now, I've put the reflection of the actual sunset behind this mountain. Because what I want to do is, that gives distance, but also this little deer, these two deer are called piebald. These two little fawns are called piebald, and they have a lot of white on them. So I want the water to be darker right in here so the white will show up on him. So I just let the sun, the setting sun, reflect down then into the water behind that mountain. So that helps us give depth. It also then gives me a darker color for my deer. Now this is a little lighter mixture of this is ultramarine blue plus a little bit of cadmium yellow medium. Go around a little bit here. Now I've saved some of my color here. I want to come back and fill in these areas here. Actually, I didn't save any of that. I've got to mix it. So that is a mixture of my phthalo blue plus cadmium orange plus a little mud plus white. Let's see how close I got that. Let's just see. It might be a little bit light. No, there we go. Look at that. And I'm just filling in my little air holes, the sky holes in here between my, now that is a little bit light. Let me add a little bit more mud into that. That's going to be better. Don't want it to be too light. I clean out my brush. The secret to nice, pretty colors on your canvas is a clean brush. There we go, that's better. Now I'm going to make my trunk, and I can just use this brush sideways to do that. I'm not going to answer that. While you're painting, you get too many interruptions if you stop, if you answer emails. It's just, when you're painting to make a living, you need to get to work. So that phone will just, if it's important, they'll leave a message. If it's not, they won't. Most of the time at this time of year, it's either elections or somebody trying to sell something or whatever. I'm not going to answer it. Okay, let's bring a few more. Just break this up in front of that. There we go. I have a feeling that must have been a sales call or something. It didn't ring enough to even leave a message. There. So on this side, I'm going to have some spring birch trees, but I'm going to have the evergreens in behind them. So that soft green spring foliage will show. And this is springtime in the Finger Lakes up in upstate New York. So we still have some snow on the distant mountains, but these have pretty well lost their snow, and this field is covered with spring wildflowers. Let's make this one taller. Let him break up just in front of that mountain, just a little bit. But you can see I can just use that bright brush and use that square edge to make my evergreen. And some of these long branches break out. And we're going to, this tree's going to absolutely take that trunk out. That's okay, I can add a trunk back in there. This one I want to break up all the way over the tops of those distant mountains. That makes this hill appear closer, and that gives us distance, gives us some depth. That's tree there. Now, come around the side here. Walk around and do this side here. Just put a few, you can see. I'll have some birch trees then down lower here. Now also those birch trunks are light. So what I want to do is there's undergrowth behind them is dark. So I want to put that in here. And this dark helps accentuate the light hitting the back of the buck here. I'm using blues and ultramarine blue plus white, my phthalo blue plus white, just to give some coolness back here. I'm not going to worry about that side right now. Let's just get these. I want to show you how to do these trunks in here. Now the trunks are lighter. Those aspens or birch. I'm using cadmium orange plus ultramarine blue plus white. And these are thicker, so. And dragging through this paint gives us some darker ones. So those are the ones that are back in shadow. This is a pretty big stand of birch. But as I come forward, I have a little lighter touch on the brush so that it gives me the lighter color. And I'll even come back after I get the foliage in. Okay, so there's our trunks. Now, this is a mixture of phthalo blue plus a little bit of ultramarine blue and some lemon yellow, a little bit of cadmium yellow, medium in there. It's just a mixture, different. And this is just that new spring growth on birch trees. And I let my brush kind of feather out over the dark. So you have the breath of spring. Some highlights on these. But I just drag my brush over the darks. I even have some darker here. I've mixed a little bit of my evergreen tree color in there just to give me some of the darks. Now I'm coming back with a little lighter, so it's getting a little bit of glow from that setting sun on this edge. Now I want some of my darker in here. But I can just drag my brush over. You need a very light touch on this. This is one of the hardest things. It took me a while to learn to. You just have to have a very light touch. If you dig too deep, you start digging up your color underneath. Get that feathery edge. Okay, now some of these trunks I'm going to come back in. First of all, I'm going to come back with my evergreen back here to give us some variation on the tops of those trees so that they're not all just one big round clump. And I just drag my brush I'm just lightly dragging my brush over to give that feathery. Okay. Now I come back, pull out my maul stick again, because I want to add some of the lighter trunks in here. You know what? I'm not even going to use the maul stick. What I'm going to do is brace on my dry part of the canvas. My sketch, my mud sketch is done, and bring in some of my lighter trunks. This is just a lighter mixture of the white plus ultramarine blue plus cadmium orange. The light is just hitting a few of those trunks. Now I'm going to put a few darker ones back in here. It's so dark you can't hardly even see it. But those gives us some distance in there. I'll let this one come all the way down to the back of our buck. And so these are our birch trees and the pines. Now I was going to come back, or fir trees, I guess those are, birch and fir. I'm going to come back and add them a trunk here. It's just kind of a dead trunk. And I have a little bit of this other one showing. So I'm going to just take this out right there. I can just pull up some of that color, get rid of him, and just put a couple of those in here. I also want to extend this trunk from this fir tree here. I want this one to show a little bit more. There we go. There's our fir trees and the spring birch trees. Thank you so much for watching my YouTube videos. I really appreciate that. And also visit my blog. I show the complete step-by-step process of this painting, along with others that I do. The link is in the description below. The address is also on the final frame of the video. And today, just make sure that you encourage somebody. You know, so many of us have had people in our lives that were discouraging, that said, oh, you can't do that. Encourage somebody. Give them some, just give them some moral support. We all need cheerleaders. And you guys are all my cheerleaders, and I really appreciate you. So have a wonderful, wonderful day, and thank you again.